So some research was done on mass trauma, and the interventions that were found to help were, and I'm going to list them off here and then unpack them one by one. So number one, a sense of safety. Create a sense of safety. And then number two, learn calming techniques. Learn how to calm. Number three,
I need this one. No, that one I don't even, that was like a foreign language, that one. Learn what, sorry? Calming techniques? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Then cultivate a sense of efficacy, both self-efficacy and group efficacy, and then connect to people. We were talking about that a minute ago, and also distillation of hope, putting hope into people. So
that was distillation of hope, folks, not open a distillery. That is not how you handle your anxiety. You distillation of hope. Yeah, let's unpack that. We've got about 2.5 minutes till the next break, so let's get started because I think this is going to prove important for a lot of people.
Okay, so number one, the sense of safety. Be careful about what news sources you're looking at. I looked at several polls as to what the reliable sources of news were, and these were the ones that were voted by both Republicans and Democrats as the most reliable sources. Public, PBS, Associated Press, and NPR. Also look at the actual corporate, like the CDC, look at their actual webpage.
Right.
Look at WHO. But I want to talk about calming techniques as well, because this is another thing that's been found to be effective for mass trauma. So calming techniques are things that we can do as individuals and together that help our limbic system quiet down. So I want to give a little brain lesson here. Take your fist, put your thumb inside of your fist and fold your fingers over. This is a diagram of your brain. This is your brain stem. It controls the physical. This is the emotional part of the brain. It controls the emotions. And this is your cerebral cortex. It controls your thinking and decision-making aspects.
All right. So those of you who are just on radio, I'm making an incorrect fist. All men know you do not put your thumb inside your fist when you're going to punch something. However, today your thumb is inside your fist because the thumb represents? Yeah.
The thumb represents the limbic system, or the emotional part of the brain. Okay. So what's happening here is with anxiety, the limbic system becomes very activated and really overactive.
Right.
And it has the effect of sort of drawing all the energy in the brain out of the cerebral cortex, or the thinking part of the brain, into the emotional part of the brain. And then it's very easy to get into a feedback loop of what we call emotional reasoning. I'm scared. There must be something to be afraid of. There must be a life and death threat in front of me because I feel like there's a life and death threat. So that's a feedback loop, because the more I believe that, the more afraid I become, and then I believe my fear. So it very quickly spirals into a feedback loop. So what calming techniques do is they physically change the way the brain is functioning by manipulating the one system in your body that connects to both the unconscious and the conscious mind. So think about it in terms of the autonomic and the somatic nervous system. Okay. What's the one system in your body that connects to both of them?
Right. Limbic system.
No, the respiratory system.
The respiratory. Oh, okay. I got you. I was going the wrong direction in my head, but I get it. Respiratory system. Yeah.
That's all right. You're 1 for 1 now because you were right once and you were wrong once. So that's okay.
There you go.
You're still doing good. So you're going to...
Not bad. Not bad. Better than my grade school grades.
So the respiratory system is both conscious and unconscious. I don't have to think about breathing, but I can think about breathing. So what I'm doing is I'm connecting the cerebral cortex with the limbic system and enabling them to influence each other by engaging the breathing system. So this is so important. Now, what we do is when people are anxious, they tend to hyperventilate. I don't know if you know that, but they tend to take in too much oxygen. So we're not wanting to hyperventilate. But what we are wanting to do is slow our breathing down to mimic the kind of breathing we experience when we're calm. Now, I know, Sean, you're never calm and you hardly ever sleep, but most people, when they sleep, they breathe very deep and very slow. What we're doing here is we're trying to slow our breathing down to trick our limbic system into believing that there is no threat. So everything is going to be okay. It's faith it till you make it. I call it faith it because I don't believe in fake. But anyway.
Okay.
So basically what you do is you breathe into the count of 6, hold for 2, breathe out to the count of 8, and then you pause a little bit. And if you can do this successfully, you get to where you're not feeling like you're gasping for breath. Another important thing that we do is we don't want to just calm down. We want to have the right kind of activation. We want to increase our sense of efficacy. We want to believe that we can be efficacious. We do have power. Here's the thing, Sean, is that Christians say a lot, I can do nothing without God. And they almost make it seem like God does things instead of them.
Right.
But I don't think that's primarily the way. He does sometimes do things that instead of us, like opening Red Sea and stuff. But most of the time, he's doing it within us. And so there's a blending. Yeah, there's a blending of human and divine forces, so to speak. And so what we want to do is we want to capitalize on that need. We were created for power. God said, have dominion over nature.
Sure. We were put in charge of something.
That's right. So we were created for power and choices and options and volition. And what self-efficacy does is it sort of restores us into that frame of mind. So what we have to do in the current situation is aim for things that are doable. Like right now, you're not going to make Corona go away. You're not going to be able to go out and do whatever you want. You may not even be able to hold on to your job, but there are still some things you can do. Ask yourself, what can I do given my situation? The biggest barrier people have to doing the most constructive thing for the circumstances is wishing that the circumstances were different.
Right. And
you get what I'm saying?
Wishes make me feel like I'm out of control. I find myself thinking, okay, what am I in charge of? Well, I'm in charge of my house. I'm in charge of keeping the kitchen and the bathroom clean. I can do that. I can wash those down every day. And I just did something about mitigating this in my house.
That's right. That's right. There's a wonderful story from a lady named Edith Eger, who was a friend of Viktor Frankl, who went through concentration camps. And she was left for dead on a pile of bodies. And the war ended. They pulled her out and she lived. And she talks, I think still to this day, she's an older lady, but she remembers being in the camps and people would eat dead bodies. She remembers lying in the grass. They were trying to live. And she said, I chose not to eat the bodies. She said, but I remember lying in the grass, praising God that I still had a choice which blade of grass to eat. And so if we can learn how to do that, if we can learn how to say, I don't have every option, but I do have some options.
Sure.
First and foremost, my attitude toward the current circumstances is a choice that I can make. And so learning how to make the most constructive choices within your limited set of options is a really important skill for calming and self-efficacy. And we can also do that as a community. We can sit there and go, the government this and the government that, they did everything wrong.
That's how I started the show, complaining.
Exactly. So this is whatever. But we can say, we can harness the power of the grassroots and say, look, we're all in this together. And we not only are in it together, but we have all kinds of time right now, or at least some people do. And we can do some stuff and we can decide what we can do to make things better for our communities, for our families, and for ourselves. So that's what I'm calling self-efficacy. Very, very, very important.
I love that thought. Because I don't know, you've known me for a few years now, and one of the things I hate is feeling no control over stuff, and I can't be alone out there. It drives me nuts not to be in control. But right now, I'm in control of all kinds of things. I'm in control of when I eat lunch. I'm in control of choosing healthier foods to ramp up my immune system. I'm in charge of my prayer life. We gather as a family and claim God's promises every evening before we go to bed over our house. And there's something about it. I'm not stopping the plague, and I might not even stop myself from getting this eventually. But I'm still a human being, and I'm still in control, and not everything has been taken from me.
Amen. And I love that benefit finding of we can have family worship now, because a lot of times people are too busy running in all different directions. They're stuck at home now. It's a great time to start a practice of daily praying with your family and reading from the scripture.